Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Jack, Conrad, 45, Week 6 Premier League action. Interesting lineups, interesting matchups, I should say, heading into this week. Starting off for us, we will talk about West Ham and Man City. Hammers 10th place on 7 points. City 11th on goal difference, looking to get back into the top half of the table. West Ham came back in that crazy match against Spurs. They were down 3 after the first half, came back to draw 3-3. Meanwhile, City had a midweek matchup, 3-1, fairly easy win over Porto in the Champions League, as I said, looking to try to get back into the top half of the table.
Yeah, very surprising that West Ham are ahead of Manchester City, first time since 2009. That was before some people will claim that Manchester City became a football club post the purchase by Sheikh Mansour.
They're up there with Krasnodar with 12 years of history.
I think that City definitely are favorites. West Ham have impressed me a lot more than I expected them to do. I had them tipped to get relegated. They are making me look like an idiot. Not sure if Ben Rama is going to be able to make a debut yet, but they'll be very happy with that draw against Spurs, the kind of draw that feels like a win. So they'll have a lot of confidence against Man City, who haven't looked great defensively. And in terms of goal creation, West Ham have been doing better than Man City have. So no reason for West Ham to be afraid, especially hosting this match.
Looks like Haller will be out. De Bruyne, Laporte, Ake, all were out midweek. Maybe a chance for the latter two there for Laporte and Ake to come back. But the defensive rebuild that Guardiola is going through may be tested here. You know, West Ham have scored quite a lot, and it'll be interesting to see who he's able to field and what they're able to do against. Again, Sebastian Haller won't be there, but interesting. Do you see West Ham getting all the points here?
No. I would be surprised, definitely, because Man City, even though they have been, I think, a bit shaky trying to complete that defensive rebuild, I think they still just have a lot of talent. Sterling's doing well. Aguero is back to fitness. And if they manage to bring back Laporte, Ake, or De Bruyne, any of those three will just increase their odds. To which I believe that they're definitely favorites. And there's no reason for them not to be.
And it's strange. They seem to do well without De Bruyne, but not without Aguero. He seems to be the bigger challenge for them. Next up, United and Chelsea. United have got to be coming into this match with a ton of confidence. They had the midweek matchup in Paris against PSG. They come away with a 2-1 win. Different defensive lineup. Tuanzebe did a very, very good job. No Maguire due to injury. Meanwhile, Chelsea, frustrated by Sevilla. Sevilla love to play English clubs and be a thorn in their side. 0-0 at home. Very stubborn. It's the first 0-0 draw for Lampard since he's been manager at the club. So are we expecting some renewed defensive philosophies from Ole and Lampard?
Whatever you say about Lampard, you cannot say that he's unentertaining. His matches are always, they've got at least a few goals in them until Sevilla match, obviously. So I can imagine there was some disappointment from the Chelsea fans that they were not able to see their usual weekly goals. But United, they had a tremendous performance, tactically spot on from Ole. Deserves all the credit in the world. I've criticized his tactics many times before, but he got it spot on. Will he continue that? Remains to be seen. That 5 at the back at home against Chelsea would be the best look, but results are results. You beat PSG away with a very good 5 at the back, including great performances for Wan-Bissaka and Tuanzebe, as you mentioned, who looks like the best center back United have had in years. Can he maintain that fitness and form? We shall see. But Chelsea will definitely be, I think, a bigger test than PSG because I think they are in a better form currently. And it would be interesting to see because versus PSG with Neymar, Di Maria, Mbappe from the wings coming in versus a lot of central solidity with the likes of Kante, Havertz, Werner, who are all going to be really good centrally.
Maybe Cavani. Cavani may be in.
Maybe even, and Cavani maybe for Manchester United would also be very interesting.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, sorry.
But he would also be very interesting. No Martial, obviously, because of his suspension. But getting Cavani fit, firing, interesting idea.
Chelsea, no Kepa. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
If they have Mendy, it's a good thing. Without Mendy, you may be even worse off than without both of them.
Next up, Southampton hosting Everton. Southampton 12th on 7 points. Everton obviously first on 13 points. I don't know what to expect here. Everton are going to be coming into this with some struggles. James Rodriguez looks to be a game-time decision. Richarlison out on the red card, first of 3-game suspensions. Theo Walcott, conversely for Southampton, cannot face his parent club because he is on loan with Southampton. Stuart Armstrong back for them.
Interesting.
Upset
It's going to be a
opportunity.
very interesting match, I think.
Yeah.
I think upset opportunity, definitely, especially after the very fortunate draw against Liverpool to start the return from the international break. If there's no James and Richarlison, that's a big loss for them. I think they've created a lot of chances. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I believe, has had more XG in terms of opportunities presented to him out of any player in the entire league, and that's because of just great creativity. Losing those two will definitely hurt you, especially against a Southampton team that are quite good. They have Danny Ings, their own firing goal scorer, who has 4 goals so far this season. And they're a team we haven't talked about much. I remember when we were making the graphics for this, their logo was bugged because we've not talked about them in so long because they're so underrated. So I'm very excited to see how they perform and excited to see how Everton handle their first bit of adversity, because if they are to make a miraculous championship run, they are going to have to deal with losing players and tough away matches like this.
Next up, Arsenal and Leicester, 2 top 6 clubs here. Leicester 5th on 9, Arsenal 6th on 9, just 2 goals separating the sides. Arsenal coming off of that dreaded Thursday match in the Europa League, winning 2-1 over Rapid Vienna. Thomas Partey's full debut, Arteta described it as fantastic. Meanwhile, Leicester, they need something. They've lost 2 straight at home, which doesn't happen all that often. Looking for a bounce back on the road here.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be an interesting match because I think that Arsenal have been overperforming on the amount of chances that they've been creating. And they've been very defensively solid, but not creating a ton going forward. Leicester scored 12 goals so far this season in the Premier League. Very good in that regard. And it's going to be against a very good defensive side. And will they be too open at the back? They already beat, I think, a better Manchester City side 5-2 away. They'll have a lot of confidence going to the Emirates, especially against an Arsenal team that aren't that dominant. Partey making a full Premier League debut would be very interesting to see. And I'm excited to see how he performs. I think a draw is a very plausible result here. But it really could go either way, and that's going to be very exciting how open that match should turn out to be.
And you got to feel for Rob Holding, who's probably going to be out with the hamstring. The guy he's a bright star when he's playing, or a bright point when he's playing, but he's been beset by injury throughout his career at Arsenal.
Yep.
Vardy is an injury concern for Leicester, but James Maddison did come on and play in their midweek match against Zorya, played just over an hour, so he's looking to get his start, potentially.
No Vardy would be a big loss for Leicester because of just how important he is to their overall game style. So no Vardy, I think Arsenal definitely have a lot of the edge, but Vardy comes in, especially if you still have Maddison as well.
So Yunku out, Pereira out, and Ndidi also out for Leicester. So they're much like Everton. They're trying to. That's a lot, right? That's
a lot.
Last up for us this week, Burnley and Spurs. Look, Kane and Son have been an unbelievable pairing thus far. You throw Bale into the mix, who knows what happens? They coming off their own Thursday match against LASK Linz, winning comfortably 3-1. Vinicius coming on for his full start, getting 2 assists, 1 for the opener, 2nd for the closer. Meanwhile, in the middle of that, Bale getting his first start, forcing an own goal with a cross. Joe Hart making an appearance in goal for Spurs with the 3-0 clean sheet. Burnley, meanwhile, they got their first point, the draw against West Bromwich Albion. Burnley are in a tough spot. We've talked about them. They didn't do much in the transfer window. Dyche is a little bit frustrated with that, but he knows how to get results. But I fear that this could get ugly because the Spurs are on fire.
We've talked about how Spurs look a bit like a mixture of Pochettino when he had an overperforming squad for too many years without enough recruitment, and a bit like Bournemouth as well, where they just kind of were in that middle of the pack. Burnley a much better side than Bournemouth. It's harsh to compare them in that regard, but they've been very comfortable where they are without too much forward ambition. And it's a lot of adversity right now. Are they doomed to get relegated where they currently are sitting? No, I don't think so. But obviously just 1 point from 4 is not great. But this is the kind of match where Spurs are defensively volatile, conceding 3 to West Ham. They're shaky in a lot of matches when you go at them, like the first match against Everton, losing 1-0. So there's every reason for Burnley to have confidence that this could be their breakout match and to get their first 3 points, get a big point against a very talented side. Meanwhile, Spurs will also be, the onus will be on them to avenge that missed 2 points from 7 days prior. So I think that Spurs definitely have the edge. I think Burnley just don't have quite enough, I think, to deal with the firing forms of Kane and Son, especially because you have Vinicius and Bale offering them rest. Something they haven't had in a long time. Depth for Kane is just going to make his longevity and his ability this season even better.
Burnley will be without Bardsley due to COVID-19. Eric Peters out, and Ben Mee also out. So again, there's these early season Knicks that against a very, very thin squad already makes it a challenge for them. That'll do it for us for our look at upcoming Week 6 matches. Jack, Conrad, this has been The 45. Please do comment, let us know what you think, and as always, we do request that you subscribe. Look for us on the Twitter at The 45. Take care now.